You know, folks, these two items make one heck of a mess around the house. What I'm talking about is sandpaper and a dust bag. That's the old way of doing hardwood refinishing. You know those beautiful old hardwood floors underneath your carpet? We call it gold in them floors. And with me today to talk about refinishing hardwood floors is the professional in the hardwood floor business, Murray McIntyre.
Hi,
and Murray, your company's called Restoration Hardwood Floors.
Yes.
Now, you do a fine job, I'll tell you. Some of the work that I've seen that well, it's just absolutely outstanding. Tell me, what is all this gear?
This is new to the industry. This is your typical belt sander that refinishes hardwood floors. What we've added to this is a dust-free system. It starts with the belt sander. There's a cyclone filter here. The dust continues on to our bigger second cyclone
Okay,
system.
whoa. Well, let's hang on there a minute, Murray. What you're telling me then, you're doing a dustless floor sanding system.
Yes.
You mean to say you're not going to give this homeowner any dust?
No. It's great. We enjoy it because we don't, like you said, we don't wear dust masks anymore. There's no dust in the air as we're working.
Wow.
As I said, this is our first stage cyclone system. The dust comes into here, gets separated. This is a HEPA filter, so air does escape there. Travels onto our second cyclone system, and then all the heavy wood dust is then deposited in this 35-gallon drum.
Wow.
It then continues on into our three-stage, 220-volt, 300 CFM vacuum. So what comes out of the top here is absolutely clean air.
Through the process about finishing a floor.
Well, we start again with the belt sander, and we're going to do a fairly aggressive first cut with a 50 grit sandpaper. That's going to take off the existing finish. That's our first goal. Take off.
Do you start with this unit first?
Start with this unit first, and this does the middle, or what we call the field. Then we switch to a smaller machine, which is the edger, and that will do the border. So we do 2 to 3 cuts with our belt sander. We do 2 cuts around the edges with our edger. In that process as well, we're going to set the nails if they need setting.
Well, now Murray is ready for the patching. I see there's been a bit of a water stain there from maybe a flood at one time or another, or some water. Now, what happens when you have a patch this size where fireplaces come out and there's been a fair size water stain and you don't have enough of the same material to patch it with?
We go out, we find recycled material, we'll rip it in size and make it fit. It's just that easy.
Now, Kevin, he's putting on the filler now.
Yes.
That's a lot easier than I thought it was. I was looking for that being a mammoth job. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, it is. It goes pretty fast. We have a good system for it. And the point being is that the whole floor gets filled with wood filler.
Well, folks, now you've got it all filled, all ready to go through the process of, I guess, the finishing. Give us a rundown on that.
So at this stage now, the next step is to sand the perimeter with the edger once more, to use the belt sander to sand the middle or the field of the floor. At that point then we're going to hand scrape the corners where the edgers can't get into, and then we're going to use, in this case we're staining the floor, so we're going to use another tool, a palm sander, to sand the perimeter of the floor. The reason being, when you stain a floor you have to use an ultrafine sanding at the very end. So it's the perimeter that we're concerned about. To that point we'll then bring in our buffer and we'll polish the floors.
Then the water bed, that's a kind of an interesting, and you do that for what reason?
We do that if we're going to stain a floor. We buff the floor, and if we're going to coat it natural, we're ready to coat. But in this case, we're going to stain the floor. So our next step is to actually wet the floor with water. And what that does, it swells the grain and allows the wood then to take on the pigment of the stain and gets it to, then we apply the stain and apply the finish coats and we're all done.
As I say, it's just that easy.
Yes.
So many people today have no idea the gold that they have in wood underneath those floors, and yet the cost of refinishing versus that of putting down new floors is unbelievably lesser expensive, and well, it's about a third, I guess.
A third of the cost, yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, folks, when it comes to the finished product, it just looks so good. And Murray, I have to say, Restoration Hardwood Floors, it's so nice, first of all, to have you as one of our members of the House Smart Home Services, but that floor looks great. Thank you so much for having me here to, well, take a look at the professionalism that you put forth into your flooring company.
Yep, that's great. I appreciate you coming out, Shell, and we're happy to be part of your House Smart team.
You bet. We love to have you. Thanks.